Hey kids, how we doing?
Check.
I'm talking to the people on the camera.
Yeah.
They're part of the family too.
I am a Mayan priest. I have been ordained in the Mayan nation, Guatemala, and adopted the Coconut nation. So I'm honored here to do the blessing today. We're going to be doing the 4 directions and also the blessing. I wanted to speak about today is Canili. In the Mayan nation, in the Mayan calendar is Canili. And today is the day of the seed. So the seed is to either plant good seeds or bad seeds. 50 years ago today, seeds were planted here, right here, to be able to name this park La Raza Park. We had police brutality for almost as long as we lived, right? Because of just the injustice that we faced in this world. And we're still here today to be able to resolve these issues. We're facing problems that 50 years ago we have stood up and we have had riots, we've had protests, we've had people killed, we've had people hurt. Today, some of our people who have been in these riots are in the danza. That I have been here as well during these riots. So it's been going on for a very long time. I see a lot of new faces. I see a lot of young, and I'm so proud that you're here to pick up the fight, to pick up the flame, to continue to have those seeds that we planted 50 years ago today, that we are still here and we are still nurturing our fight for freedoms, for justice. All of us are the people. La Raza. La Raza. And that is what this park is going to be named. La Raza Park. It is the name for the people.
Yeah.
I see the flag out there. That is a beautiful flag. Because under that flag, we met so many times under that flag. And that flag was for the union, the Farm Workers Union. And I remember fighting for the protest for the breaks for the people who were pesticide while they were working in the farms, and they were coming out the farm, they were sick, they were dying. And that's what the fight was for when we walked underneath that flag. So seeing that flag today brings my heart happiness and joy. So today I'm saying the prayer, I'm saying the blessing. But I wanted everybody to remember that the blessing today is for us to understand that we need to continue this fight, we need to continue this struggle, but we also need to remember that we need to be united as humanity. In Guatemala, in the Mayan nation, what we do there is we do ceremonies. Every 30 days we do ceremonies with the fire. And what we do is we fight. Our ceremonies and our prayers are for humanity, not only for the Mayan nation, but humanity all over the world. So that's what we're doing today. The prayer today with the danza, as they say the prayers with the dance. As I smoke the cigar, as we go into the 4 directions, how we bring in our ancestors, because our ancestors have always been with us during this struggle, during this fight, because they had the struggle before them, and they struggled as well. They were in the coal mines. They were in the farm workers.
Pigs are
And
here.
yet today, we still have that struggle in the corporate world.
I don't know why the pigs are here, but pigs are here.
Justice, we feel a lot of us aren't working because of what's going on. So a lot of us are struggling, so we need that prayer, we need that breath. We need to remember that we all are in this together. So with that, we're going to bring in the directions. We're going to call in the east.
Which is face east.
question. This is what police brutality and intimidation looks like.
Fight for the struggle. We're going to continue to walk in a good way. That's the only way to walk, in a straight path. With strength and courage and wisdom. East is a beautiful place.
See how they're wearing the mask of their oppression there? The lieutenant. That's nice. I'm behind the blue line mask on. See how they're here physically at an event? That's anti-police.
In the Maya Nation, the West is our ancestors. We bring in our ancestors today. We welcome them to come into our lives and give us the strength that we need, because sometimes we don't know what to do. We ask them for guidance. We ask them for strength. We ask them to be our guides and our wisdom and our truth. For we have our ancestors to always look on and say, we are here. Help us, guide us, be with us. Give us your wisdom. Thank you, my ancestors. Thank you. Now we go into the north. In the Maya Nation, the north is the breath of God, is Ish. And with the breath of God, every day we breathe. We breathe in and we breathe out. And we smell the earth. And the breath of God, without even 5 minutes of God with breath, we die. So God gives us life. God gives us the joy of living. God gives us everything. And we've got to remember to breathe, because without breath we die. So thank you, God, for giving us the word of God, the wisdom of life. And as we come to the south, our mental, our physical, our emotional, and our spirit. We need to balance that out every day. Because without balance in our life, we go crazy. We don't know what is right, what is wrong, if we're sick, if we're well, if we're crazy, or not crazy. And in this day and age that we need our four manifestations to be balanced every day in a good way. Remember the deer. Remember how the deer walks in such a sweet, beautiful way. So that is what we need to remember today. And now we're going into the center, to the cosmos. In the Maya way, we have our brothers and sisters of the cosmos that are always watching down upon us. Give us life and wisdom and guidance. We don't see them, but we know they're there. So thank you. Thank you for our Father, the Son that shines upon us. Thank you. And now we go down to the Earth Mother. It gives us the rain, it gives us the food, it gives us the nurture, everything that we need to survive. We have to thank our Earth Mother for everything that they give us. We love our Earth Mother. We gotta remember our Earth Mother every day. The environment heal itself. We are so lucky that now the environment is starting to heal itself. But we need to help it as well. Give it the love that she needs. Give us the love that she gives us. So thank you, Earth Mother. Everyone for the plastic. Raza will continue to do the
Now, Sergeant, exactly what was it that you wanted?
Yep.
You don't want nothing. Just hanging out at a people's event?
Yep.
Very good. Oh, I do need your name and badge number, though, sir.
Sergeant Bloodworth. Badge number 00108.
Very good. Thank you very much. See how the lieutenant's got a Blue Line Murders face mask on? He decided to come to the People's Party and interrupt us. And his mask of treason. Oh, there he is. He's not going anywhere. So here we are at an anti-police event. And who comes but the police? Because they just want to ask some questions. That's what the Gestapo did. People gather in ceremony and in prayer and community. And they'd come in and they'd say, you're not allowed to have these prayer books. You're not allowed to have these ceremonies. You know, that's what the Gestapo did to the Jews, right? They showed up while they were having community and ceremony. They interrupted their space. First it was just a presence, then they started taking their stuff.
So you're concerned about the Jews?
I'm just saying that your presence here is very similar to Gestapo.
Really?
Yeah.
That's right. You know, we have a duty to protect your group as well, right?
I what? My group.
We have a duty to protect your
So what are you saying? The Proud Boys are coming here and I need to get my my friends out here as well? Because you guys just protect the Proud Boys. We saw that last night. Men carrying openly weapons on the streets of Denver, and your brothers in blue did nothing about it.
Good thing I don't work.
Good thing you don't work? Did you even know about that?
Nope.
You didn't know about the Proud Boys that were in town last night? That your brothers?
I don't even know what the Proud Boys are.
You don't even know what the Proud Boys are? You need to spend more time in a library than a gun range.
Really?
Then you might know what a Proud Boy is because you work amongst them. There are many tatted members of the Proud Boys that are in the ranks of the Denver Police Department. Yeah. 3%ers and the like.
How does that make you feel?
I'd like them out. personally. How does that make you feel? You're the one who takes an oath to, you know, to the Constitution.
Your group and you as well as any other group.
Okay. So have you done enough of your investigation? Or are you just gonna stand here all day?
Depends. Not investigating anything.
Oh, okay. What are you guys doing out here then?
We already answered that.
You were here to ask questions. Questions require that you would be investigating. You're asking it. You're inquiring. You're learning about something. Right. That's an investigation.
We're asking to see if we can offer our assistance to the event organizers.
I think they would have reached out to you if they wanted some assistance.
That's not entirely true. Or maybe they did, right?
Well, then you'd have a point of contact, wouldn't you?
No.
I think you would have. So again, at an anti-police event, the police decide they want to show up. They want to know what's going on. They want to know a schedule of activities.
Did somebody ask you for a schedule of activities?
Well, yeah, you did. You said, are you marching or are you staying here? Something along those lines. Your lieutenant said that. I don't think you actually said a word. So, a schedule of activities, a game plan, whatever it is, however you want to put it. The idea is that you're here.
Do you think if you decided to march somewhere, that we would ensure your safety if you did? You don't?
No. I've been doing this for way too long. The Denver police have a persistent and consistent protocol where they stay back 2 blocks, and then as the protest march approaches that 2 block, they move and let traffic through. I have thousands of hours of video of it. Are you familiar with that practice?
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. They stop traffic up 2 blocks away, and then as the march approaches that 2 blocks, they move and they allow for the flow of traffic. It's persistent. You know who I am, right?
Nope.
You don't know who I am. You don't know who I am. You don't know who the Proud Boys are. Sergeant, what do you know today? Well, I'll give you some clues. My name is Brian Loma. My favorite name for the Denver police officers is defendant. Yes.
You've been a defendant for me because you'd be in jail. You haven't been a defendant for me because you'd be in jail.
No, right. Because you haven't arrested me and I haven't done anything illegal. Right. The beautiful thing is that all the times I've been arrested, I've done nothing illegal, which is part of the fun of it.
Would be fun?
Yeah, it is.
What's your last name? Loma?
Oh, yeah, that is my name.
Have a good day.
Hey, you too. Lieutenant Ballinger, can I get your badge number, please?
Yeah, 0517.
And is that mask approved for use on duty?
Why would that matter?
Why would that matter? Because if it's not an approved mask that's used for duty, then you might be representing like gang activity, and gang activity is something that we want to eliminate in this city.
I know I'm clueless, but what are you talking about? Yeah, none of that
See the blue line? That's like a gang.
Fallen officers?
Yeah, but see, it's also a desecration of the United States of America flag. And if you took an oath to the Constitution,
Right, sir, you're confused.
I'm not that confused. But I know that you guys showed up in the middle of prayers, and you haven't left, and you haven't gotten that clue yet. Huh?
You were very peaceful and quiet.
You were, but your physical presence was violence.
You.
It was.
But not reality. That doesn't make sense. The physical presence is violence. That's
You're showing up at an anti-police rally.
But aren't we supposed to make deals, like put together and talk about what it is?
So while you showed up at an anti-police rally, during prayers, you failed to recognize your presence in what it was doing.
So we're not allowed to pray?
You weren't here for that, though. You were here to conduct an investigation.
No, it's building bridges. Like whenever there's protest events, mighty organized.
Okay.
Go make peace with it. Go, hey, what's your event gonna be like? How can we investigate you? That's the only reason why we're here.
Okay, well, I think that probably your best way to support this community is by leaving.
But that's you. But the police are the
No, your employees, my employees, right?
Sir Robert Keel, founder of modern policing. community, the community are the police.
The father of modern
Yes.
was like, are you talking like before the Roman slave catcher or like post the Roman slave catcher, like the American slave catcher?
No, he was from England. He made all the bodies.
Okay.
That's where the whole modern police idea came.
Okay.
He wrote that was actually right because policies about how police departments should work.
Okay.
Public are the police.
The public are the police and the police are the public. Therefore, we should be able to police ourselves and you can go. Thank you.
Okay. Enjoy. Have a good day.
They said the police are the people and the people are the police. And they said, great, then we can police just ourselves and you can go. Have a nice day. Now let's have ceremony, huh?
share a few words about danza for some of most of us here have been around here so long, you know. We understand a lot of these themes. You know, I used to come here when I was a teenager and I used to spray paint La Raza over that Columbus sign, you know. And, you know, we're still in this spirit of that seeking our liberation and our identity, recognizing that. You know, I wanted to share about this moment here today. It's very unique. This is not one group. This is members of danza from different groups that came here. We have people over there from Raza. And the danza has within it has a structure, it has a discipline that even though we haven't danced with each other, we can still come together and we can follow each other, we can lead each other, we can share this dance, and this, to us it is a very sacred ritual and movement that is liberating the empty spaces around us, that is helping us to connect with our ancestors, and in that way it is also a beautiful example to others that understand that we all have all these different ideas, everyone has their own truth. But together as a community, together as people, we share with each other, we share our movements, we share our ideas. And this is only the thing that we really have hoped for America. The American experiment is to have a collection of different ideas and different beliefs and different traditions and cultures and practices. And this is something that has been stifled for so long because in this country there's been a dominated culture that is trying to keep our ways in the secret. We have to constantly hide our traditions, and we have to find special moments where we can create a sacred space to be able to be ourselves again. And I wanted to give a special feeling from my heart to all of my danzantes here for coming, for sharing their love, for sharing their energy with us today, for putting it all together. You know, a lot of us sometimes we're saying, what's going on here? What's going to happen? I don't know if any, to all of you out there, it looks like we all know what we're doing, you know? And most of the time we do, you know, in our own way. And we understand because we've taken the time and the discipline to learn about our culture, to have our identity. And that's what we're hoping for everyone else to have that. And I wanted to give a special thanks to my right here. My Capitan, he came here, Raul Chavez too, was with us on the we are continuing to share of our love for everyone else. We always have this warrior dance that was just danced here. This was danced by a woman, because a woman is the first warrior. The woman is the first warrior. I don't care what culture, what person, or where you come from, you came into this world through a mother, through the water. And the woman is the first warrior, and it's the one we need to get behind. And it's the only one that's going to have to lead us to a passionate world. And then, we want to do one last danza. We're taking a lot of time. We know usually our rituals, they last all day long, so you guys are lucky to just have us for a short time. We really appreciate you, and we appreciate all of the attention and the energy that you give back. Thank you to Mavis too for the beautiful words.
If you want to come and get blessed, get smudged, you're more than welcome to. Just come to this middle part here. Feel free to come and get smudged. Yes. So we're here today to help commemorate the 50th year anniversary of the Chicano moratorium. The Chicano moratorium was held on August 29, 1970, where over 30,000 Chicanos and support reporters from all over the U.S. united in East Los Angeles to protest against the high casualty rate of Chicanos in the Vietnam War. The protests also denounced the racist military draft, police brutality of Chicanos, as well as racism in general. LAPD and LASD brutality attacked the peaceful rally at Laguna Park, beating and tear gassing hundreds and arresting scores of people. The people fought back, and many police went down. As the rebellion continued on Whittier Boulevard in East LA, the police killed event attendants Angel Diaz and Ruben Salazar. Ruben Salazar was a KMX news director and LA Times news reporter, covering historic events. Lynn Ward, a brown beret, also died during the demonstration. We're going to hear a lot of good speakers today and commemorate the history of the Chicano movement and express solidarity for the current movements against social injustice. We also have Sanctuary for All set up around the park and we'll be raising funds. Please donate, show your support. So they're around here selling food, so please donate also. Please remember to pick up after yourself. Also, we're going to have our night with some white music from the Catholics tonight. Also, our next speaker, who is Arturo Jimenez. Arturo Jimenez is an immigration attorney based in Denver, Colorado. He has devoted his practice to helping families and individuals navigate the complexities of the U.S. immigration system, laws and procedures. In particular, Arturo is an advocate for child immigration rights. His 2019 book, Dreamers Nightmare, the U.S. War on Immigrant and Latinx Children, describes how both the Obama and Trump administration have failed Dreamers and DACA recipients. So if you can please welcome Arturo Jimenez.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you very much I'm very honored to be asked by the organizers to be here, the organizers of the commemoration for the National Chicano Moratorium on the War in Vietnam, 50 years. All right, que viva the Chicano Moratorium, que viva Ruben Salazar. Also, thank you to Students for a Democratic Society, the Denver Peace Council, and the danzantes who are here, and all the people who put their effort into this event. Thank you. I'm speaking to you because we're living during a historic era, not just because of the pandemic, but also because of the fascism that we're seeing in our streets today. I'm not just here as an immigration attorney of 22 years. I'm not here just as a Northside neighbor concerned about my block. I'm not here simply as an author of a book connecting U.S. foreign policy to the incarceration, separation, and caging of children. I'm here as a father of 3 children, my daughters and my trans son. And all of us live in fear and we worry about our children today. So I'm you as a community and a father and a parent. One day, some of our children may look to the military or the police for protection. They may even look to join the military or the police because they might want to pay for school. They might want to do things that are noble, right? They might have good intentions. But we're here to change the system, right? Because we need to not live in fear that the people who protect us are going to be the ones that hurt us. And so that's why we're here to talk about reform. Why do we do it now? Why during a pandemic? Because Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Sons being killed in the street, daughters being killed in their homes, and children disappearing from military duty, only to be found dead. We obviously cannot rely on our government right now to protect us. At least many of us live in fear for our lives, and this is why we must all continue to speak out during the pandemic and support each other, and pledge to protect each other from the situation of incarceration, violence, and death in the name of so-called greatness. For whom? Just look at the children sitting in cages at the border. A allowing the immigration officials also being deployed to the interior of the United States to suppress opposition by protesters, by U.S. citizens to our government in the interior of the country. These are symbols and signs of fascism that ICE was sent to Oregon and Michigan. It should be a wake-up call that Trump seeks to beat down any opposition, that his far right-wing agenda. Furthermore, the refusal of this wannabe dictator to abide by the Supreme Court's decision stating that DACA should stand, and telling those over 600,000 immigrant children and young adults who've grown up in our country that they shouldn't have any rights here. This is wrong. We need to stand up against the right-wing vigilantes who are being asked by the president to unite with white supremacists to bring violence against non-white ethnic minorities. All of these things harken us back to the lessons we've learned in the past. The internment of Japanese Americans just up the street here on 38th and Pecos was a temporary holding center as they sent Japanese Americans in this city to internment camps in Colorado. It harkens back to our history where we fought Germany, this country, in World War II. And we incarcerated people here, but we didn't incarcerate German Americans or Italian Americans. Right? We only incarcerated the Japanese Americans. All of this many times shows that our government has been they've been hypocrites. Right? We've looked more like Nazi Germany, where this exact behavior led from their harsh immigration laws to condoning racism and violence against non-whites, the LGBTQ, then to the extermination of these groups, along with 6 million Jews, including women, elderly, and children. We're here because people continue to die by non-lethal projectiles, like the one shot in the head of Ruben Salazar 50 years ago at the National Chicano Moratorium on the war in Vietnam. Ruben Salazar, he was a revered journalist. He covered police brutality. He was born in Juarez, Chihuahua, but he was a journalist in the United States and a respected member of the Chicano movement who was not born in this country. That's something we need to recognize, and recognize that we have many immigrant brothers and sisters like Jeanette Vizquerra, who I saw here, who are fighting for everyone's rights. Yes, this country at various times in our history has shown that we can display the ugliest of hypocrisy, waving our flag in the face of people who are working to pick the fruits and vegetables, who are working as nurses and healthcare workers, working constructing, cleaning, and gardening for U.S. citizens who are unwilling to be essential workers, and encouraging violence in the name of making America great again. But don't get me wrong, we must find unity with fine people, including those who are current or former military members and police officers. It's not about the individuals, it's about the system and changing the system. Even some of the workers from the Department of Homeland Security, since I'm an immigration attorney, I have contact with them, they agree that we need to hold Trump accountable. We need to hold Governor Polis. We need to hold even Mayor Hancock accountable for what our government does to encourage state-sponsored violence. All levels of government should stop from shielding rioting police and be held accountable, just like Trump in their encouragement of fascist tactics against citizens and non-citizens alike. A shout out to State Representative Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez. I don't know if she's here, but she championed police reform bill to make the laws giving police from lawsuits for police brutality. This has been a reform that is the model for the rest of the nation, and so hats off to Serena Gonzalez, the representative, and others. As a young activist, one of my first jobs as an adult was to assist in police brutality cases and investigations. I can't tell you how many thousands of these lawsuits were dismissed simply because these officers had on a uniform and a badge and were acting under the color of law, so they were allowed to get off based on immunity. Immunity built into me soon enough. There's another, it can't be soon enough because we know from the community, we've seen officers who have beat children, who have raped women, and of course those who have murdered human beings in our community, all under the color of law. Another shout out to those in Aurora who are working to ban official policies like no-knock raids, the ones that have resulted in innocent people being murdered in their own homes. Also them working on banning the use of toxic gases and injections, right? So-called non-lethal weapons that are being used on vulnerable individual human beings like Elijah McCain. Say his name.
Elijah McCain!
And those exercising their First Amendment rights. Today is the 50th anniversary of the Chicano moratorium against the war and against police murdering the famous journalist Ruben Salazar. He was a part of that movement for police reform, and we need more journalists and reporters. Those of you who are out there, you serve a very important function in our society to make sure that fascism doesn't take hold and to report what is going on. We need to define the police policies that value human life over fascist violence. We need to ban high-speed chases that put human life in danger. And also pedestrians, right? When police are speeding through our neighborhoods. We need to ban police shooting into moving cars for the same reason. Just ask the families of Ryan Ronquillo and Jessica Hernandez, those who were unarmed and murdered by police as they sat in their cars very close to this park, just up the block from where we are today. Finally, hats off to those who are working for police reform, like those in the city of Minneapolis and other municipalities, where after the murder of George Floyd, by police are looking for ways to redefine peace forces that would meet peace with peace, not meet peace with violence. And we need police who are considerate and trained in mental health. These groups, these people are looking to reform those police policies and create those that will truly serve and protect our communities, our children, and our families. I also want to give thanks and a hats off to Councilwoman Candy Sedavaca for leading this movement in Denver, being the only city council person to introduce this true, complete, and necessary police reform of defunding the police and reconstituting them. In the last 5 years alone, we've lost many human beings in this neighborhood here and nationwide, including but not limited to Paul Childs and Frank Lovato, Marvin Booker, Ryan Ronquillo, Jessica Hernandez, Devon Bailey, Elijah McCain, Jacob Blake in Wisconsin, and even, don't forget, this affects every race, even out in the plains recently, Zach Buford, and many people here. We're here because Black Lives Matter. Que viva la raza! Que viva Ruben Salazar! Thank you, gracias. Have a great day.
Thank you, Arturo Jimenez. Good work. All the knowledge. Next, we have Arturo Rodriguez. Arturo Rodriguez is Denver community activist who has been active in the Chicano movement for over 50 years. He also is a member of the Crusade for Justice, a Denver-based Chicano civil rights organization in the 1970s. He was present at the original Chicano moratorium in 1970. For the past 50 years, Arturo has also been fighting to officially rename this important community space to La Raza Park, its rightful name. So put some hands together, please, guys, for Arturo Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome to La Raza Park. And you are standing in a historic space. For those of us that grew up in North Denver here and also in Denver. In 1970, I led a protest to rename this park and also to protest the issues of the pool. Where I am standing, this kiosco was the space of a swimming pool. And so if you look at the entire concept of water is life, that was true to the Denver community in this neighborhood. The pool at what is officially known by the city as Columbus Park Pool was the jewel, was the space where we came together to enjoy ourselves. Eventually became very run down under the McNichols administration and so forth, but by 1970, by 1969, Denver Chicano communities that had similar pools in West Denver, in East Denver, we began to organize for the city to respond and to upgrade our pools and to change the complexion, if you will, of the pool staff. Worked during the summer here, were white college students. They didn't live in the community, and that's okay, but that also we had here, besides changing the name of the park to La Raza Park, which the community voted on during our organizing here at this park. And by the way, I want to make sure that everybody has a very that La Raza mean to rename this park the people. We were talking about the people, you. It didn't matter what color you were. We were talking about the people. We were not talking about the race. We were talking about the people. One of the previous names of this park was called Navajo Park. In their language, the name means the people. The first name of this park was called Northside Playground. Then it was Navajo Park. Then the Italian community changed this park after they bought and raised $8,000 to expand this park. A great community service. We thank them. The mistake that they made is that they chose Columbus. Now, we should all know the story of genocide and terrorism of Columbus. So by 1970, our particular community was ready to change the name. It has taken us 50 years, one protest, two now rename city council petition drives, and we are in the last petition drive forever. And we'd like to thank Amanda Sandoval, who is here, who represents this district, who grew up in this neighborhood, and she has taken the leadership to gather the names and take it to city council for a vote. That's the next thing we have to do. We must change the name of this park for humanity. So I'd like to publicly thank Amanda and also have her give us an update of where we are in this petition, because it's not there yet. But I want to point out that in Denver, changing names of parks and neighborhoods, taking down statues. Now, if you look over there, you'll see a missing sign over there in that corner. That's where the park named Columbus Park was. Well, the city took that down on June 26th. And a reporter asked me, Arturo, how does it feel not to have a sign up that says Columbus Park? I said, we used to take them down all the time. All the time. So it feels good to know that the city took it down, because finally, after 50 years, they realized that we were not going to back off. I want to point out that it took Stapleton neighborhood a month, maybe a month and a week, to change the name of that neighborhood. It has taken us 50 years to get to a vote for city council. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. Amanda?
Thank you, Bones. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our community, our park, our precious La Raza Park. I'm Amanda Sandoval, born and raised in this neighborhood, graduated from North High School. A little about myself, my family started La Casita on 36th and Tejon in 1975. So my family's been serving in tamales my whole entire life. And it's an honor right now to serve as your city council person during this time of a pandemic that is disproportionately impacted Black and brown communities. If you look at the data, it's our communities, our elders, that are dying at a disproportionately higher rate than our other communities. That's nerve-wracking for me. That's serious. Because I come before you because people opened the door, and there were people who were reflective of me, a Chicana, biracial Chicana, who came before me that there had to be reflective representation, and they opened the doors. So I ask all of you to make sure when you're out in public, I know I don't have mine on, but I have it right here, to please wear a mask. Please social distance. And this winter, please take this serious and protect your elders. So in that vein, I'll give an update on La Raza Park. As Bones mentioned, I was born and raised not far from here on 36th and Vallejo. And I always knew this park as La Raza Park. I never knew it as anything else. There used to be an amazing pool here, and just right here where the courts were. And they filled it in because we started protesting. There was racism in our community, and it's still here 50 years later. And so I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this during my term. And now, during this time, it's even more important because it's bringing up all kinds of different conversations. As Bone said, the council person in 1935 did this, not this same process. We can't find the park records. But in 1935, the city councilman at that time voted to change the park from Northside Park to Columbus Park. And the Italian community, as much as I'm getting support from the Chicano community and the Denver community, the Italian community feels like I'm being very disrespectful to them. And I am not. I just cannot. We cannot. But Denver, we do not deserve to have a park after a man who's known to rape and pillage our indigenous community in the United States. We cannot stop. We cannot have that. So what I did was not long ago, I submitted a letter to our Parks and Rec manager, Abby Hayes. After that letter, Parks and Rec provided the petition for me to get signatures, to have 300 valid signatures. I had two petition signing events right here in the kiosco with my comadres, State Representative Julie Gonzalez, Senator Julie Gonzalez, State Rep Serena, our West Side comadre, Jamie Torres, Councilwoman Jamie Torres, a whole community, and we ended up with 780 signatures. And I submitted those, 780 signatures in a pandemic where everybody social distanced and had masks. And it was so nice to see my ancestors and my relatives and all the people who I've been missing during this pandemic. It was like an old community event here at the kiosco at La Raza. And so next, I'm waiting for Parks and Rec to validate those signatures. And then it goes through its public process. It will go to the Denver Parks Advisory Board, and I'll need speakers to speak up. All virtual, I'll need letters of support. And then they vote to send it to City Council. And then my colleagues and I will vote on it. And I just want you to know, there's opposition out there. And they're vocal and they're organized. So if you support this effort, I ask you to get vocal and to get organized and submit your letters of support and recognition of this important initiative that has been going on for 50 years. I'm 41. It's been going on longer than I've been in life. Que viva la raza! Que viva la raza! Que viva la raza! Thank you. Thank you, Arturo.
Thank you. So we have work to do. The reporter, asked me, how does it feel? Well, it feels good, but we're not there. As Amanda said, we need to organize. We have work to do. And so 50 years is way too long. And this Denver named this park. Denver needs to change it. This is not a Chicano issue. This is a Denver humanity issue. So we need everybody to get involved. The second thing I'd like to talk a little bit about is the August 29th National Chicano Moratorium Against the War in Vietnam. I have an article written by Dr. Roberto Rodriguez that is available here on the history of the moratorium. This is a very important event that is taking place today nationally. Right now in LA, there are thousands of people, men, women, children, again assembled to say, ya basta, to 5 goals of the National Chicano Moratorium in 1970, agreed upon here in Denver. at the 1969 National Chicano Youth Liberation Conference, organized by the Crusade for Justice and Corky Gonzalez. 5 goals of the moratorium. 1, in the war in Vietnam, Chicanos were disproportionately being killed and drafted into the war in Vietnam. Number 2, welfare rights for all people. Now, today we call that what? What's everybody waiting for? The bailout, stimulus. That's welfare rights. Number 3, education rights. Number 4, immigration rights. And number 5, end police brutality in all communities, especially communities of color. Especially communities of color. We must end police violence. For my community, Dr. Rodriguez has a national database. He's collecting names. Since May of this year, there have been a total of 77 Mexicans or Chicano Latinos that have been murdered by police departments across the country. If you were to tag on the number of Native Americans, Chicanos are Native Americans, you know, this number is out of control. It is a crisis for this country, it's a crisis for our community. So on August 29th, 1970, when I traveled from La Raza Park after taking over this park to a peace rally march in East LA, I was met by 20 to 30,000 Native Americans, Chicanos, Mexicans, Latinos, African Americans, Asians, women, men, and children. This was huge. This was huge. I happened to end up going to the end of the march instead of the beginning of the march. So I had to walk back to the start and then walk back to the end. And what I saw, I could not figure out, but I knew better. And what I saw was the LAPD, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Departments, paramilitary vehicles, infiltrators collaborating with the police department. And I said, what is going on here? There are buses parked everywhere. There are like mini tanks. There are squads of dogs. And I said, what is going on? This is a peace march. So as I got to the march, and I'm excited to see all these people, 20,000 plus people were marching. We're saying, in the war, we are proud. It was a beautiful day. It was a peaceful day. It was a peace march. By the time we got to Laguna Park, we got settled, and one speaker got to speak. Folkloric dancers, because there were no Aztec dancers at that time. And thank you so much to the danzantes who came from many locations, also to some of the grandmothers that dance today to bring us their energy. Debra Montoya, thank you and your familia for coming and sharing your energy. This is historic, you know what they have done for us. They were up all night at a ceremony. They prayed and they danced. When our danzantes dance, they are praying with their bodies. Their feet are the prayers. They're giving their energy so that we can heal. They had a ceremony all night last night, ended at sunrise. They went and slept, and they came back here to continue their prayer for us. That is a beautiful example of what we call La Cultura Cura. Our culture heals us, and it heals all people. So we want to thank them. And so when we got to the park, and then I took off my shoes, and I was exhausted, with my friend Antonio Anchuleta, who was one of my partners when we organized here in Denver. Then we started to see Corky jumped on the stage from the Crusade. And he was doing this. doing this, and you could hear, calm down, calm down. I stood up and I saw a ruckus going on at the end of the park. What was happening is the police had entered the park. The allegation was that somebody had gone into one of the convenience stores and walked out without paying. So they called the LAPD. LAPD. Get it? There were no cell phones then. There were no cell phones to call the LAPD. There were these rotary. You get what's happening here? So the ruckus starts. Allegedly, somebody runs into the crowd. Thousands of police are going to arrest him. Does that sound familiar? What happens here happens across this country, arresting people, where you have hundreds of police arresting people. Same thing, same scenario. So then the men, women start running to the stage. I see a line of brown berets and black berets and young vatos from the neighborhood and men making a fence to try and stop the sheriffs from coming into the park. A battle takes place. We gallantly fight that battle. We didn't have the weapons, but we had the heart. We had the spirit. We went there as a non-violent protest. We did not go there to a war. I say to myself, over the years, I went to a peace march and ended up in a war. And I have been traumatized for 50 years of what I experienced. The gas, the trauma of running through that barrio, the largest Mexican community outside of Mexico City. Huge. That's why we elected to have it in East LA, because there were moratoriums and anti-war demonstrations against the war in Vietnam taking place all over the country. So what we said is that we needed to come into our neighborhood. Like you're in, at one time, a predominantly Chicano neighborhood. It has changed. My generation has moved out, other generation. I am 5 generations in this neighborhood. This house that you see right here with the wooden structure, I asked a young man walking, and I often ask people walking here, gentrifiers, resident, do you know the history of this park? No, I don't. Would you like to learn it? Yes, I would. So we have some education to do so that they take ownership. When this officially becomes La Raza Park, they know the story. When you look here and you see this kiosco, which is the top part of a pyramid, you know that this is not a gazebo. This is a sacred space to indigenous Mexican peoples, Mexica, Azteca, Toltecas, all of our people. This is sacred. So respect this particular space here. You just saw danzantes praying for us. They are tired. They are hungry. So they need to learn what the mural says here. There's a story here. So I asked the young man, I says, his mom happened to be a retired university professor, like I am at Metro State College in Chicano Studies. So I had a brief conversation with him, and the photographer that was working with me that day heard his address. And I told him, I'm going to come visit you because I want to connect with you. I'm an educator. She texted me the next day and told me, Arturo, I have a nickname Bones. And I always say, my name is Arturo, my friends call me Bones. She texted me and she said, I looked at the purchase of that house across the street. $900,000. Denver is the second highest gentrified city in the United States. So you're seeing here a gentrified neighborhood. Changes, yes, changes happen. But you cannot erase the history. You cannot erase the history of the moratorium. Of 20 to 30,000 people assaulted, a police riot, a riot that took place, destroyed. Now, one thing I did see, one thing we learned in the Chicano movement and the peace movement is that we never went with the intent to riot, kill, maim, or hurt anybody. We went with the intent to teach people our particular story. We never went to loot. But I did notice one thing in LA, and I said, I didn't know where I was running down these streets when all these buildings are burning, and I started to notice that the businesses that had "We Support the Moratorium," they were not on fire. But I did notice the buildings that were the exploiters, the corporate, they were on fire. So, I started saying to myself, well, this is very interesting because this building here is not on fire, but this one is. Well, it makes sense that people were striking out. They were angry. They were tired of the press, and it was better that, to whatever happened to that building. So the trauma of that experience, the murder of Rubén Salazar, the most predominant Chicano writer of the LA Times, is murdered. It was a conspiracy. They followed him 2 miles from the initial park. They fired a 9-inch tear gas canister into a bar because there was a report that there's somebody with a gun in the bar. It strikes him in the head. It kills him instantly. So what's wrong with that story? Number one, he knew that he was going to be murdered. He knew that. He feared for his life. He was our voice. He was telling the story of Chicano and Mexican people. This is a predominant LA Times writer who had covered the Vietnam War, who had gone to Mexico during the '68 Olympics when the students were assassinated, who had gone to Nicaragua and Central America and reported on imperialism. This was the most predominant voice we had. Why did they want to silence Rubén Salazar? Because they knew if they would silence him, that they could silence us. But as indigenous peoples, we have a philosophy. Somos semillas, we are the seeds. They tried to bury us, but they forgot we were seeds. And we are here today, and we will be here tomorrow, and we will be here the next century, because we are in our land. We did not immigrate to this particular continent country. This is where we are from. We are not immigrants. We have traveled back and forth in the Americas for thousands of years. We are the corn people. We gave the gift of corn to the world. A good thing. So the LA Moratorium is a historic event, and today we gathered in East LA again, thousands of people, and I heard reports, watching it intensively on YouTube and my phone and so forth, and I'm looking at reports of like Chicanos and Mexicanos coming in from all over the United States. But one in particular was an interesting one, the Brown Beret chapters coming in from places like Georgia. So let's look at that just for a second, Georgia. So why would Chicanos, Mexicanos have such a presence in Georgia? Labor, cheap labor. In 1970, we were 6% of the population. Today, we have 70 million, quote, Latinos, numbers. So you stop and you look at that complexion change, and you start to look at the change of demographics in the United States. The United States will and already is in California changing their complexion. California got a suntan. Minorities of color are the majority, in particular Latinos. That scares the ruling class. That scares racist white people because they think we want to take over our land. We don't want to take over our land. It is rightfully ours. You can't go and take something from them that was already yours. We want ownership of our land, yes. And that's a whole other issue here. But that racist mentality is what frightens people. And so when you look at the LA moratorium and you look at the fact that it's California history, it's U.S. history, and you look at the 4 people that were killed at the LA moratorium in Denver alone, Cortez was arrested. He would serve 27 days out of 40 in a retrial for being in LA. He was arrested a mile and a half from the park. They were following him. The Crusade for Justice members were arrested. One particular member lost his eye, Danny Lopez. You had other individuals from the state of Colorado that were arrested. The Crusade for Justice, the most prominent Chicano movement organization in the country, and for sure this city, was on the move. COINTELPRO, infiltration of the Chicano movement and other movements, including the radical SDS movements and other movements that emerged after the Rainbow Coalition, the original Rainbow Coalition. And I would like to invite you to go online and see the original Rainbow Coalition documentary and see how history unfolds during that particular era. And so the LA moratorium is an important part of U.S. history. It's a part of your history. It's a part of my history because we are U.S. citizens. So in closing, I would like to say thank you very much for coming out today. I hope you enjoyed the blessing of the rain, the blessing of our culture. There's food and there's vendors here. Help those nonprofit out, reach out to each other, support one another, love one another. Help us change the name of this park, because if you live in Denver, it is your responsibility. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Arturo Rodriguez. We have the articles here for the Remembering East LA's Chicano Moratorium. If you are interested, please come up and get some. We're going to invite now Jeanette Vizguera, and she's Sanctuary for All is led by Jeanette Vizguera, community leader and activist who has fought for the rights of undocumented people across the U.S. over the last 2 decades, who is now targeted by ICE for deportation. Named by Time as one of the 100 most influential people, Jeanette is a strong, shrewd, and determined woman who is more than determined to fight for help and support of the directly impacted community. If you can please put your hands together for Jeanette Vizguera.
How are you, everybody? I listen very quiet this event. I need more energy. My comadre Elena interpret for me. My first language is Spanish y es more better for me. Bueno, mi nombre es Jeanette Vizguera y llevo 23 años en la lucha.
My name is Jeanette Vizguera and I've been in the struggle for 23 years.
Llegué en el año 97 a este país como toda inmigrante, orgullosamente mexicana.
In 97, I first came to this country, like all the immigrants, very proudly Mexican.
Pero tengo hijos mexicoamericanos, donde mi primer trabajo fue de janitor y a los 5 meses empecé a trabajar en CIU Loco 105, que es uno de los sindicatos creados por César Chávez, de Viva la Raza.
I'm the proud mother of 2 Mexican-American children, and I first came here, I worked as a janitor, and in 5 months I was part of SEIU, number 105, and that was created by César Chávez. Que viva la raza y viva César Chávez.
Desde entonces he estado trabajando por derechos laborales, derechos civiles, derechos humanos, pero ahora llevo más de 13 años peleando por derechos de inmigrantes, fundando el movimiento de derechos de inmigrantes aquí en Colorado, ya que antes no se hablaba del tema de inmigración.
And so I've been working on behalf of labor rights, human rights, and civil rights. In the last 13 years, I've been working for immigrant rights. And I founded organizations to work for immigrant rights in Colorado here because before this was not spoken of.
A lo largo de estos 23 años me ha tocado ver la transformación de los movimientos, la transformación de las luchas, cómo poco a poco se ha ido cambiando. Hablaba con Elena que hace 20 años atrás el movimiento realmente era un movimiento donde teníamos 3,000, 6,000 gentes en la calle peleando unos con otros, hombro a hombro.
And over these 23 years, I've seen how the movement has transformed, how the struggle has transformed little by little, and how it has been changing. I was telling Elena that 20 years ago, we had movements where we had 3,000 people, 6,000 people working in the streets together, arm in arm, hand in hand.
Pero ahora el tiempo ha cambiado, ahora nosotros tenemos que adaptarnos a las circunstancias. Un ejemplo es ahorita con la pandemia. Yo que peleo por derechos de inmigrantes, que he perdido mi libertad por 5 ocasiones, 3 ocasiones detenidas en el centro de detención de Gio, 2 veces acogida a santuario. Tenemos que adaptarnos y transformar el movimiento aún con el COVID-19.
And so over time, now we have to adapt to the changes. We have to adapt to the new circumstances, like right now, adapting to the pandemic. And so as I've worked for rights over the years, I have lost my freedom 5 times. 3 times I have been detained in the Geo Immigration Center. Twice I've had to go into sanctuary. And so we have to adapt, we have to transform our movement to the circumstances, even with the pandemic.
Ahora vemos que a partir de la pandemia, poco a poco los movimientos se han ido uniendo, pero en el pasado eran reactivos, cada uno peleaba por su propio proyecto, por su propia lucha, sin pensar que todo nos afecta a todo y que todo está conectado con todo.
And now we see that with this pandemic, little by little, we're coming together in unity. In the past, we were more reactive. Each group was working for their own project, their own struggle. But now we're seeing that we have to come together because after all, we are all connected and we are all affected by the same things.
Estamos queriendo pelear en contra del sistema, en contra de los gobiernos opresivos. Pero muchas veces entre organizaciones estamos peleando por protagonismo, por quién está enfrente, por quién está atrás. Y es precisamente lo que el sistema quiere, dividirnos, separarnos, que no luchemos con una sola voz y con una sola dirección. Y es algo que tenemos que llevarnos en la conciencia de que tenemos que trabajar en unificar, no en dividir.
And we must first unite. We want to fight the system. We want to fight this oppressive government. But a lot of times among the organizations, we're fighting among ourselves because of ideology, who's going to be in front, who's going to be behind. And that's exactly what they want. They want to divide us. But if we're going to fight the system, we have to have one voice, one direction, and we have to have that in our awareness and our consciousness that we must unite ourselves and not divide ourselves.
Sabemos que ahorita la pandemia pues ha transformado también a nosotros como personas, porque el encierro nos hizo vulnerables, nos hizo tener miedo, nos hizo tratar de protegernos a sí mismos. De alguna manera dividió a la gente porque no podemos estar juntos, no podemos abrazarnos, no podemos demostrar nuestro afecto. Pero creo que es más grande el amor por nuestras familias y nuestra comunidad para seguir en la lucha como estamos hoy aquí.
And we know that this pandemic has transformed us. It's transformed us as individual people because as we've had to be closed up, we've become afraid, we've become more vulnerable, and we want to protect ourselves. But we also, because we're not allowed to get together, we can't come together, we can't hug each other, we can't unite, we can't express our love for each other. Because as much as we love ourselves, our families, and our communities, it's the way that we can become strong and stay together and work together.
Ahorita, aunque está pasando esta pandemia mundial y es un problema real de salud, los gobiernos no nos dejan de joder. Siguen afectando a nuestras comunidades. Vemos cuánta gente se está quedando sin hogar. Vemos la falta de atención médica. Vemos que Homeland Security no ha dejado de detener a personas y ponerlos en inmigración. ¿Hasta cuándo vamos a permitir que este sistema nos siga dividiendo y siga rompiendo nuestras familias y nuestras comunidades?
And so now that this pandemic is worldwide, we can't deny that it's truly a health problem. And the government is still screwing us over. It's still messing with us. Look at how many homeless people there are. Look at how many people have no medical care. Look at how many people Homeland Security is still detaining in immigration. And so that is what the system is still trying to divide us and break apart our families and our communities.
Pero también queremos invitar a que los jóvenes le entren a la lucha, porque vemos personas como yo que lleva 23 años, como Arturo, como Elena, como Laura y muchos más que llevamos décadas en esta lucha. Y a veces estamos cansados, pero sabemos que esta es nuestra pasión, estos son nuestros valores de seguir luchando por la gente más vulnerable, sobre todo la de color, que es la que más están oprimiendo.
And so, we also want to invite the youth to become involved in this struggle, because I've been working in this for 23 years in this fight, the same as Arturo, the same as Elena and Laura and so many others. We've been working in this struggle for decades, and sometimes we get tired, but yet this is our passion. These are the values that we have, and we know that we're going to keep going in the struggle, especially for the most vulnerable people and the people of color.
En 2017 y 2018 estuve viajando mucho alrededor del país. Al nominarme como Times Magazine, pues todo el mundo me quería traer en todos lados. Y ahí a veces es donde vemos la hipocresía de la gente, porque llevaba más de 20 años haciendo el mismo trabajo, donde no le daban reconocimiento a la lucha que mucha gente tiene igual que yo. Y yo decidí que quería quedarme en Colorado, a seguir luchando como cualquier persona humilde por mi gente. Y estoy orgullosa de Colorado porque es un estado progresista, que a veces estamos peleando entre las comunidades, pero cuando tenemos que ir a pelear juntos lo hacemos.
And in 2017 and 2018, I was traveling all over the country, because since Time Magazine named me that part of the 100 people, so everyone wanted to invite me to go everywhere. And sometimes that's where you see the hypocrisy of the people, because for over 20 years I've been doing this same work and without recognition, and many other people that were not recognized. But this is the struggle that we have. We all are struggling together, and they were all struggling the same as I was. And I decided to stay in Colorado. I decided to stay in the struggle and keep working as a humble person, because I'm proud of Colorado. It's a progressive place, and sometimes they try and frighten us to try and divide us, but that is why we must stay together.
Por esa razón he creado y he fundado diferentes organizaciones. Metro Denver Sanctuary Coalition es una organización creada por iglesias de diferentes denominaciones que está proveyendo espacios seguros para personas inmigrantes que quieren seguir luchando y enfrentando al maldito sistema.
And for that reason, I've created and founded several different organizations, including Metro Denver Sanctuary, which is an organization that has been working and founded through a number of different churches of different denominations to create safe spaces for immigrants in which we can be safe while we work against the damn system.
Tengo otra organización que se llama Mujer con doble R, que está creada de mujeres inmigrantes que trabajan en servicios de limpieza, pero que siguen peleando por su respeto y dignidad, porque su trabajo es tan válido como el de cualquier persona que tiene un título.
Another organization is Mujer with 2 R's, M-U-J-E-R, and that's an organization of immigrant women, many who work in the cleaning industry, but they demand that respect for their work and dignity, because their work is just as important as anybody else with a degree.
También fundé Abolish ICE Denver. Abolish ICE Denver fue creado a raíz del 2018, que teníamos niños en jaulas. Niños que estaba utilizando de manera cobarde el gobierno para sus propósitos. Es el gobierno que ha dañado y perjudicado más a la comunidad inmigrante, utilizando, como dije, de esa manera cobarde a niños. Niños que deberían de tener una vida feliz, que deberían de estar con sus padres. A partir de ahí decidí que iba a confrontar directamente a inmigración, que no iba a permitir que siguiera dañando a las comunidades. No es un trabajo fácil, pero sé que un día lo vamos a lograr.
I also worked on founding Abolish ICE Denver, and that was in 2018, when children were being put in cages and kept in cages. And this cowardly government was using these children and putting them in these cages and further damaging immigrant families and communities. And so the children should have a happy life. They should be together with their parents. And so we wanted to confront that immigration system so that they would not continue to harm our communities. And it's not an easy job, but we are achieving something.
También tenemos a Sanctuary for All, que es una organización de familias inmigrantes que siguen luchando por parar sus deportaciones y mantener a sus familias unidas. Trabajamos de alguna manera unidos y somos grupos autónomos que trabajamos con nuestros propios recursos, porque no queremos que los grants que están nos estén diciendo en qué tenemos que utilizarlos, porque nos gusta confrontar y pelear directamente con el sistema con nuestros propios recursos.
And we also formed a group called Sanctuary for All, which is made up of immigrant families that are working to stop the deportation and the division of the families so that the families can stay united and can stay all together. And these are autonomous groups. We're working on our own, using our own resources. We don't want to get grants from other organizations that are going to tell us what we have to do. We want to confront this and fight on our own, using our own resources.
Pero a veces, aunque ya estoy tan cansada, tan frustrada, porque no solo tenemos que estar peleando en contra del sistema, también tenemos que seguir peleando en esta época en contra del privilegio blanco, del paternalismo, de que la comunidad blanca quiera tomar decisiones por nosotros como si fuéramos niños. Somos adultos, guerreros que estamos listos para luchar y confrontar, que no nos vean con lástima porque somos unos guerreros.
But at the same time that we're sometimes tired and frustrated, we not only are fighting the system, but we are also fighting the system of white privilege, of white patriarchy and paternalism, because oftentimes the white people want to make decisions for us as though we were children, but we don't want to have pity on us. We are warriors, and we are willing to fight and struggle for our people. We are truly the warriors.
Entonces, como vemos y como comentó Arturo, hay muchas etapas de las luchas a la historia de este país. Pero también es parte de nosotros poner una parte de nuestra persona para hacer un mejor mundo, una mejor sociedad, una mejor comunidad y sobre todo un futuro para los que tenemos hijos.
And so we see that there are many stages of the struggle for the history of this country. And just as sometimes we are making sure that we are part of it, we ourselves have to work to make a better world, a better society, a better community, and especially a better future, especially for all of us, those of us that have children.
Tenemos allá productos de Chinga la Migra, de mascarillas de Fat Guys, Abolish Eyes. Todos esos productos que vendemos son para recaudar fondos para familias inmigrantes y sigan pagando sus costos legales. Tenemos familias impactadas vendiendo aguas, vendiendo comida, vendiendo playeras para sacar dinero para los costos legales de sus esposos. Entonces, por favor, apóyenos, porque como digo, nosotros somos un grupo autónomo que trabajamos con nuestros recursos. O si quieren donar directamente a las organizaciones, lo pueden hacer a través de Vemo, Sanctuary-for-all. Y les vamos a agradecer eso. Gracias y ¡viva la raza!
And so we have some products there. We have some merchandise. We have some masks that say Chinga la Migra. We also have Abolish ICE, a number of different things. And these are things that we are putting together. We families of immigrants that are raising money for legal funds to fight their cases. There's also people selling food and water. There's t-shirts, and this is all to raise money. Some people have husbands that are in the detention. But again, we're an autonomous group using our own resources. And so if you'd also like to donate directly to the groups, we have Venmo, and there's Sanctuary and the number 4 all. Thank you so much, and viva la raza!
¡Y chinga la migra!
Fuck the migra!
Gracias, Janet. Next, we have Keisha. Keisha's an impacted woman whose husband, Pablo, was detained by ICE January this year. Despite incredible pain and trauma, Keisha found support in a community of activists who inspired her to actively campaign for Pablo's freedom. Earlier this summer, Keisha helped lead a protest encampment outside the Aurora GEO facility that lasted 79 days and brought much-needed attention, healthcare, and hope to those detained inside. Can you please put your hands together for Keisha?
you all know what she said, my husband is detained in GO Detention Center, but also in July 11th, him and 9 other detainees were transferred to Teller County. We never found out why they transferred him. They did it right under our noses. They did not let me know. They did not let his lawyer know. But also, by working with this organization, with Abolish ICE, and working with Jeanette Vizguera, has made me so much powerful how before, when my husband was detained. I have a 7-year-old daughter who misses her daddy every day, who wishes that he could see her or she could see him or hug each other. She has learned so much and she has been so strong. It's very difficult to be out here and knowing that my husband is an hour and 40 minutes away. This system is it's really bad. I don't wish anybody to go through this. I really do think that the more people that we will unite, the stronger that we are and we're able to abolish ICE. But most of all, I am grateful for each and every one of them that I was camping with for 79 days. I've learned so much. I've learned how to be a leader. We made a change in jail. There was 2 selections for them to do COVID-19. One was in Oklahoma and another one was in Aurora. And while us being there, it really helped. Sorry.
We love you.
So most of all, I just want to let everybody know that I'm not just only fighting for my husband. I am also fighting for the rest of the impacted families that are in Century for All or inside the GO Detention Center. I've witnessed so much incredible things, and like I said, it changed me so much and it changed my personality. Thank you. Thank you, Keisha. And like Keisha said, we have Sanctuary for All here. If you can please support buying the impacted families, so really help them out. Also, please remember to pick up after yourselves. Next, we have Ingrid Encalada La Torre. Ingrid Encalada has called the United States home for half of her 36 years. She lives in Colorado with her 3 U.S. citizen children, fighting to stay with her family for 9 years. She has become a leader in the immigrant and justice community. Ingrid started the No Mas Chuecos campaign to educate the community and others about the importance of not using fake social security numbers. Ingrid is committed to ensuring no other immigrants find themselves in the situation she faced. She is educating and supporting the immigrant community through her actions. And I don't see Ingrid, I'm sorry. Okay, perfect. Hi, Ingrid.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. So, my friend is going to help me to interpret this. Okay, Elenita. So, buenas tardes a todos. Muchísimas gracias a venir.
Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
Pues mi nombre es Ingrid Encalada La Torre. Estoy enfrentando deportación desde el 2010.
My name is Ingrid Encalada La Torre, and I've been confronting deportation since 2010.
Soy de nacionalidad peruana.
I'm Peruvian by nationality, and I have 3 children who were born in the United States.
Este sistema de inmigración me ha destruido la vida realmente.
This immigration system has truly destroyed my life.
Muchos años peleando mi caso de inmigración con mi familia, siendo separada de mi hijo.
I've spent so much time separated from my family, my children, fighting this immigration case.
Este sistema está destruido.
This system is so unjust.
Pues he iniciado una campaña que se llama No Más Chuecos, donde estoy educando a la comunidad inmigrante y a la gente blanca a realmente conocer sus derechos.
I started an organization called No Más Chuecos, and it's really to educate the immigrant community and also the white community about their rights.
Porque realmente yo fui afectada en el sistema
Because I was truly affected by the system.
por haber comprado un seguro social en la calle y pues yo ya realmente pagué las consecuencias, pagué con la justicia, pagué con dinero, con abogados.
Because I was affected by it very much because I bought a social security number out on the street, and I was truly affected by this because I've had to pay for lawyers, for legal costs, and it's very much affected me.
Pues los abogados realmente me llevaron a una representación de abogados en el pasado donde me llevó a la deportación.
And as far as the lawyers, I had bad representation in the past, which led to me facing deportation.
Pues así como yo soy cara de miles de inmigrantes que estamos en esta situación,
And just as I am the face of thousands of immigrants who are in this situation,
pues estoy agradecida ahorita porque ahora en este tiempo ya podemos sacar una licencia de Colorado, aunque es marcada y aún así somos señalados.
and so I am grateful that now we can get Colorado driver's licenses, although they are marked as such, and so we ourselves are marked by that.
Aún así somos discriminados con algo marcado porque no deberíamos estar marcados realmente con algo porque todos somos iguales en este país.
And really, even though these do mark us, we're discriminated against because nobody should have to be marked. We're all equal in this country.
Los colores no deberían hacernos la diferencia, los blancos, negros, morenos, porque todos somos iguales y nosotros, la gente inmigrante, nosotros hemos venido siempre a luchar en este país.
Because color shouldn't matter, shouldn't make a difference whether one is black or white or brown or of color, because we immigrants, we are all equal, and we immigrants have come to struggle and to build a better country.
Pues gracias por seguir apoyándonos a todos. Espero que siga mi campaña que se llama No Más Chuecos.
Thank you so much for supporting us, and I hope you continue to support us and support my campaign called No Más Chuecos. And also Sanctuary for All and Abolish ICE. ¡Viva la raza!
¡Exige la migra!
Gracias Ingrid for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your story, Ingrid. We're gonna have los mocochetes now. Thank you all so much for coming to this very significant event. We're gonna have the mocochetes playing in a second. Right now, enjoy some music, and like I said, enjoy the vendors here that we have today, impacted families. So thank you all, and continue with us for this evening.
Hola. Hey, what up, y'all? Hey! Who's still alive out there? It's a beautiful day to be alive. For Hoser Guerrero, everyone. We made it. That's right.
Everybody feeling out there at La Raza Park? ¿Cómo está mi gente que soy ya? We want to make sure we let motherfuckers know we in here. On the count of 3, everybody make some noise. 1, 2, 3. Everybody knows there's no revolution without music. So we are here to do a service. And you are here to scream and shout and have your voice heard. You want to invite everybody to get a little closer. Come dance with us. Because we believe that dance is a form of prayer. So come pray with us. Que viva la raza. Que vivan los Brown Berets. Que vivan los Black Panthers. Que viva Denver, Colorado. Are y'all ready to dance or what? I don't think so. I need everybody to get up on their feet, to come shake it, to come sweat, to come scream and dance. The revolution is a beautiful thing. Make some noise for yourselves for being out here, my people. We are Los Lobos.
En Colorado, en donde no es nada, yo no ando enojado. Me llamo la ama de yo porque somos lo mismo que la gente que yo. Y cuando quieres, si se puede. Everybody sing it with us. Cuando quieres, si se puede. Should be a little better. Cuando quieres, si se puede. Cuando quieres, si se puede. And those beds, I could, but I rap and said I could have been a lawyer, but my hands are red, so now I'm spitting, yeah, different type of beds. I got wisdom in my head, like I got some dreads, and I'm a high mother, like I made from lead. I left her, cause ain't got no regrets, started working. President y nadie te lo digo en español, no trata de venir evolución, empieza con oír esta canción, luchar y conseguir liberación, porque como el pelo de Samson. And I'm in Colorado, my name means nothing. Also have a voice. I say you raise it loud. Chorus riders lighting from the clouds. They said, brother, the change.
This song is dedicated to all the teachers out there, to all of the maestros working with our youth, estudiantes here with their educational program, making sure the youth get educated in the arts. Go visit them, their booth is right over there, but there's also all kinds of different organizations here you can support. But if you have kids who want to act, who want to be on stage, who want to sing, who want to be in a band, send them our way. We make sure we take care of them, make sure we put them on stage. Our people have been discouraged from coming up on this stage for so long, and it's our turn to take it over. Esta siempre será nuestra tierra. Aslan, Denver, Colorado. Anybody ever heard of the 43 de Ayotzinapa? It's a very important case y'all should look up. 43 student activists from Ayotzinapa went to demonstrate, and unfortunately they did not come back, they did not return. 43 students were missing. For a long time we just pretended like we didn't know what happened, but the reality is there's a lot of corruption that had to do with all that stuff. And the truth is, finally, the district attorney decided that they were going to press charges, and so 28 people got, they got prosecuted, or they're going to be prosecuted for the death of the 43 students of Ayotzinapa. This song is meant to honor those students and to remember them. They live forever through our music, forever through our lyrics. And every single time you dance, you call their spirits to come visit us. If you see hawks up there, it's because they're here. If you see the pájaros out here dancing and singing, it's because they're here. Their spirits are with us right now. Chinga la migra, fuck ICE, abolish ICE, Black Lives Matter. Elijah McClain, say his name. Breonna Taylor, say her name. United we stand and divided we fall. We are one movement. Are y'all ready to dance or what? Americano, existe un pueblo paisano, acá revolucionario, Ayotzinapa de guerrero, lugar donde comienza el credo, educación para el pueblo entero, comienza con un buen maestro, desde la toma de Parama, a la demostración de bala, tomaron una ruta prestada, la policía quedó alterada. Armas, por favor, no nos disparen. Nosotros no traemos armas, por favor, no nos disparen. Venimos a dar respeto a los fallecidos del Tlatelolco. Llegamos 100 estudiantes y ahora nos faltan 43. Mañana dicen que fue el gobierno, la verdad la sabe el tiempo, pagarán el infierno, pero mi pueblo está ciego, solo han encendido el fuego, quema adentro, muy adentro, revolución en nuestro pecho, no hay que olvidar los hechos, 43 desechos, hay que juntar el pueblo entero y luchar por nuestros derechos.
soldar. En el presente vamos a explotar. Y en el presente vamos a soldar. Como siempre, la vida es suficiente porque hay que ayudar a la gente. La cumbia de las que se siente los 40 estudiantes presente, presente. Los 40 estudiantes presente, presente, presente. Los 40 estudiantes presente. Ay, ay, queremos sobrevivir. Ay, queremos sobrevivir. Queremos sobrevivir. Queremos sobrevivir. Tus armas, por favor, disparen. Tus armas, por favor, disparen. Venimos a dar respeto a los fallecidos del gobierno. Llegamos sin estudiantes, ahora nos faltan 43. Anybody hungry out there, food, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you support folks out here. You know, folks out here coming to support us, so we gotta make sure we get back to the community. This song goes out to all of the grandmothers, all of the mothers, abuelitas and tias who've ever fed us in our entire life. This song is called Tacos. It is about my favorite food in the entire world, and I hope you feel the same way. On the count of 3, everybody shout out your favorite taco. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Take one. Los tacos de mi abuelita, saben mis hijos, los inapas son carnita y muchísimo limón. Siempre de categoría, hechos con amor, y luego cuando termina, grita, viva México. No sé por qué me he dejado de comer, los tacos están llenos de puentes en lo que se sabes. Una charla de los comiendo con mi abuelita, se come como alright, my people, it's time to get on los tacos con los mocochetes. But don't forget the main ingredient, my people, it's Chile. Chile, 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 Chile. Los chiles de mi abuelita pican mis hijos. Los en su jardinito va que agarren más sabor. Los huelen su molcajete, más sacan sazón. Siempre cuando termina grita viva México. No sé por qué los dejados de comer. Los tacos están tan buenos que puedes enloquecer. Quizá darles verdad a los fusiles. Comiendo con mi abuelita se come todo. Hey, yo, stop the music right quick. Stop the music. Hold on. Just hold on, wait. Yo, the truth is that we are here at the 50th anniversary of the Chicano moratorium, you know? We are here together as Raza to make sure folks don't forget that even though it's been 50 years, we're still here fighting. And another 50 years can come and we'll still be here. Our people are resilient. You can never stop us. Our people will always come back. We forgot that we were seeds. We will always grow. Our people are beautiful. Our Raza is beautiful. Immigration is beautiful. Black lives are beautiful. Brown lives are beautiful. Native lives are beautiful. We are here to fight, to scream, to dance, but we will not stop fighting. Don't forget that.
in this. Say it with me. Our children, deserve better than this. Échale, compadre.
Make some noise for Diego Flores, everybody.
What's up, everyone? How are you? The sun came out for this beautiful event. Thankfully we had that rain. We had all these forest fires burning the earth. We do it together. We are doing it together. Yet to sleep, our coffee and no Everybody make some noise for las mujeres. Make some noise for all the beautiful, strong, amazing, intelligent, powerful chingonas, all the women out there. The truth is, they've been leading this movement the whole time. And it's time we put them up in the front. It's time we talk about it. It's time we discuss it. ¡Que viva las mujeres!
Rosalia, she had her heart beat by her eyes. She was born a heartbreaker, with a love and God. She shook my whole world like no other. some noise for yourself for coming out to La Raza Park today. Yo, this is beautiful. We need to do this all the time. It's beautiful. It's here for us, right? And join us in the park. Beautiful art. Bunch of beautiful people here. Give him this. And he's been here since 1960. Make some noise for him.
OG in the house.
Let's go. Alright, this song is called Oh Baby Please Don't Go. I dedicate this to all the antepasados because they're not here, but they are. And we want them to be here in a good way, you know? That's right.
I'm ready for face today.
in a good way. And they're like, oh yeah, just this song goes out to anyone who's ever square danced in New Mexico. Circle danced or triangle danced or shuffled. Okay, Duke City. Who's gonna teach Josh how to do the moonwalk? I'm not allowed. I approve. Haven't got my permit yet.
anyone missing a purple phone? We found a phone. It's got a purple case. I'll put it right up here.
Échale primo Joshua. It's not hard to see no reflection of you. It's like the version is all you need. No one ever unconditionally. The fire is burning inside. Pulling the pulse to you now.
my uncle. His brother, Jorge Santana, just passed away recently from a heart attack. So this song goes out to him, right? And again, all of our fallen ones, all those folks who have been fighting and battling for social justice through their music and through everything they do, right? This song is called Primavera.
En el aire, este nuevo universo, hoy se respira libertad. Primavera, la tierra negra se vuelve verde y las del desierto donde yo habito, la semilla de la nueva vida, esta primavera, una nueva, como la semilla de la nueva vida, esta primavera, una nueva era.
The song's called Homer. It's about connecting with your ancestors in the spirit world.
And I were at the Red Coat Thursday night for the jam. Time in Ventura took a break to shake a stick at the blend. Joshy Fork down out and hung with my man for some time. Winding me up the road, looking very out blooming, I'm feeling fine. We pushed around and sang some songs just like we did when we were kids. I was spoke, Mother Mary spoke and she offered us roses, roses, roses. We were free, free, free. To we are Los I'd like to introduce you to the band. On stage left, to your right, my brother from another mother. Please make a lot of noise on the guitarra and on the vocals. Elias Garcia.
see the one that Aztecs waiting for to come. Some call me Quetzalcoatl, others call me Cuauhtemoc son. But I'm the chosen one. I showed up at the mic and all the other rappers run. I'm bright like the sun. I fought the options one. They try to sweat me, so I beat them like an Aztec drum. Like a god, the sun wasn't asked to come. People out here getting conscious and they acting dumb, young. If we looking forward, need the rocket socks off. Look no further, cause the bubble ride the mic now. If you're looking for a place to hit the dance floor, what my people stand for? On stage right, one of the founding members of Los Mocochetes, really the brain behind Los Mocochetes. Everybody make a lot of noise and welcome my brother on the trumpet, on the vocals, and on the motherfucking guitar, Joshua Randy Avila.
All right, folks, my battery's about to die. Thanks for hanging out. We're gonna let you go. Enjoy. Thanks for hanging out. We'll try to see you tonight.
Alright. Damn, that's a guy that can play that guitar. Coming up next, we got one of the OG Mocochetes, who is an amazing, brilliant artist as well. His name is Diego Flores.